going to create a book class, and then there's a driver that I'm going to create, and we'll make some book objects from the book class. So, file, new project. I called my namespace book project, and in that it gave me a class, default name program. I'm going to highlight that, right click and rename, and call this book, and apply that throughout the program. Um, on I just went the book class on this one, so I'm going to leave that blank. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some variable names. I'm going to do something a little bit different from what the book says. I'm going to take a shortcut and create a property from these variable names. So instead of each one of these um, variable names, what I'm going to do is just create a property for each one of these. So the first one for title, I'm going to, that's a string property, and I'm going to give it the name title. Okay, and the next one, and the next one is integer, and it's number of pages. And the last one is prices. It's a double data type, and since it's a property, I'm going to start off with a capital letter and call it price. Okay, so now that I have these properties, I'm just going to delete these. Okay, I don't really need them anymore. The book takes you the long way around. This is the way that you normally would do it. Okay, so I have those three properties, similar to variable names, but they're more dynamic than that. Title, number of pages, and price. Now, with this class, I'm going to add a method. Let me see. And this method is going to be public. By the way, this class, I'm not creating a constructor for this class. A constructor would have the name book, but it wouldn't really be doing anything, so I'm just going to go with the default constructor. Okay, so public, I'm not going to return anything return a data type from this, and I'm going to call it message. It's a method, so I'll put those parentheses on the end, and then a block, beginning and opening curly braces, and the only thing I want to do in here, CW tab, is that I want to return, I'll say title of the book is, and then put a placeholder in there. Whoops. Yeah, I know. Console right line, and I'm going to return this title. What I mean by this is this class, the title from this class, and so I'm going to return whatever's stored in this property. Okay. Okay, so that's the only thing I went for that. So now I'm going to add, so in this namespace, inside of this namespace, I'm going to collapse this book class down. That's the only thing I want in the book class. We don't really use price or number of pages in this example, so I'm just going to leave those for now. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse this down. I'm going to click on this little minus sign. And now inside of this namespace, I'm going to create another class. And I'm going to call it class book objects. I'm going to create a book objects. Okay. Code block beginning and end of the class. And inside of here, I'm going to create a main method inside of here. You can only have one main method in this namespace. I mean, you can only have, yeah, you can only have one main method inside of this namespace. And I'm putting it in my book objects. Okay, and what I'm going to do is create some book. So inside of my namespace, I now have two classes. Inside of this class, I have a main method. I need to make sure that I keep my curly braces, my code blocks, so that I'm not trying to mix up my curly braces here. And let's do this. Let's create a, from the book class, let's create an object called B1 for book 1 and initialize that and call the default constructor. And what are we going to do with that? So now that we've done that, here's what we can do. We can say B1 and we can set the title some title of a book. And now that we've done that, we can go ahead and call the message. Oops. Okay. Okay. And let's pause output. So read the line. That will pause output for us. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this. So debug, start debugging. And when it finishes, title of the book is, and then whatever I pass to it. Okay. So what I did is that I created an object out of that book class, called it B1. Now that I've done that, I now have access to all of the properties and all of the methods which are public. So, and what I did is I changed the title property to Gone with the Wind, so that I'm now storing Gone with the Wind in the title property. And in this next statement, what I do is in B1, I also have a message method, so I call that. And in the method called message, what it does is it takes the title, whatever the title's been set to, and displays it. So it will say title of the book is, and then whatever we set that title to. Okay, that's all. Creating a book class and a driver called book objects. That'll do it.